This test was built entirely in-house. These sensors were sourced ourselves. All of the jigs were designed and 3D printed in-house.
So if you were Joe customer, we are going to take into account your station, which parts may fail, and have a stock of those just for you.
All the testing and all the configurations to make sure that it's 100% A1 on spec, okay? They will not let it go until it gets to that point.
I don't know if we're going to have the best products. I don't know if we're going to have the fastest chargers, but I know we're going to be the easiest company to work with.
Thank you to our sponsors for today's video, InfyPower, Eaton, and Ionna. InfyPower is the largest EV charger module provider with over 3 million power modules running reliably worldwide. Their latest G2 collection features ultra-high power density and efficiency for EV charging and energy storage. InfyPower, innovation for your power. Also, Eaton. Eaton is a one-stop shop for implementing reliable and innovative EV charging infrastructure at your site. Across all applications, Eaton's EV charging infrastructure, hardware, and software gives you the scalability, flexibility, and intelligence you need to charge today and scale up tomorrow. Learn more at eaton.com/EVCI. And Ionna, North America's premier charging network. With unmatched commitment to elevating the customer experience, Ionna is opening America's roads to all EVs, giving drivers the coverage they need, the reliability they deserve, and the amenities they crave.
Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. My name is Walter. I normally make content on the Out of Spec Bits channel, but this was so important we felt as though it should go into the Reviews channel. I'm here at Tritium in Lebanon, Tennessee. Originally they were founded in the harsh environment that is Australia. They've been reconstituted here in the middle of North America, getting ready to join the fray of what looks to be the golden age of electric vehicle charging here in North America. They have a production facility that they have completed opening, which has 500,000 square feet, is said to be able to produce 30,000 electric vehicle chargers per year once they finish their ramp up, and employ 500 people. Today they have their media event branded Evolution, and we have executives doing speeches, we have a factory tour, and if we're lucky, considering it's a factory that makes electric vehicle chargers, we'll be able to do a charging session segment as well. I brought my wife's Cadillac Lyriq. It's been depleted down to about 4%, so we should be able to get a pretty good charging session should we be able to hook up for that. Anyway, let's get into it. Very quickly, before we start with the day's activities and the itinerary for the Evolution Media Day event, just going over who Tritium is. I'm sure if people are familiar with electric vehicle charging and the industry as a whole, you've heard the name before, and these are what their chargers iconically look like. These are the RTM, they also have PKM, and the new one is called the Triflex, which is more distributed type of next generation hardware that we're going to be, I'm sure, hearing a lot about today. But they went through a process where they had to go through insolvency and then get reformed through private equity, and they relocated their executive staff here to the United States from Australia, and in so doing they've reinvented themselves and they've got these next generation of charging products. They get a lot of flack during the time where they were suffering financial difficulties because of reliability issues and a couple of other things, but the truth is they were on the vanguard of the very early stages of electric vehicle adoption. And during that time, it was a difficult phase in order to create even companies like ChargePoint today, which at one point were considered to be the Mercedes, are now becoming passé. So in order to stay relevant in any form of technology, which electric vehicle charging is one, you need to continually stay contemporary and relevant and reinvent yourself, stay aware of what the market conditions are, and try to adapt to what those new changing needs may be. And as we move from the early adopter to the early mass majority and charging is starting to become more and more ubiquitous, the name of the game is charging stall count. And that's where the Triflex seems to be coming in order to fit the bill. But these are the RTM, which they have here on their campus. And I think the charging session that I'm going to be allowed to do is inside the factory on the Triflex. So I'm not going to charge up right now, even though I have a little bit of time. We'll save that for the big boys. Okay, so I just talked to Parker, who is one of my contacts here. And apparently the unit that is inside is currently blocked, unfortunately. So we are going to use this one, but they will have some telemetry data on one of the screens during one of the presentations. So I'm going to hold off on plugging it in, so the charging session could be part of that demonstration. So anyway, once I got in the building, things were pretty fluid, and I didn't have an opportunity to capture the telemetry data from the charging session. Things just didn't happen that way. I was kind of shuttled from one place to another pretty in a herd mentality with a whole bunch of other people. So unfortunately, that was not able to be captured. The nice thing is that when I came out, the Lyric was charged up to 100%. I was only getting 75 kilowatts, but because it was a steady 75, and I was in there for a sufficient amount of time, coming out fully topped off, when I plugged in my destination and did the route mapping, I was presented with 4 hours of drive time. So when you fill up a Lyric and you're going to drive it down to single digit state of charge, you're definitely going to be in the car for a while. And that was the case for me. I made it all the way into about 8 o'clock at night before I needed to refill in the mountains of Western North Carolina. So it was much appreciated for the free electrons from Tritium from their RTM chargers there on site. It would have been nice if we could have triflexed on the new ones, but unfortunately that wasn't in the cards. So this first segment is going to be a factory tour where we're taken through multiple different stations along the production line, and also speak to multiple people who are part of the production process, not actually online. For instance, the human resource people who follow a Kaizen approach to training and getting the staff up to speed on what needs to be done at each one of the different stations. The sustainable production approach is also gone over, and then we actually go into the line where the EV chargers are produced, all the way down to when they're wrapped in their silk screen, or whatever we call the final wrapping, with the marketing for the given customer's imaging on the charger. So, very exciting. Let's go ahead and go into the factory floor and take a look to see how these Tritium chargers are made.
Right here, before we go into production, I just want to touch into how we're driving sustainability through circular economy and innovation. So here we have drawn the basically the circular economy process that begins with your raw materials, going through design, selecting the right products, through production, how we distribute it through air or through different shipments, road or on a ship, and then how we use it, maintain it, repair, and then at its end of life, how we collect all of those materials. So we want to make sure that we are recycling as much as we can, and to minimize waste that goes to the landfill. So here you can see this is our month-to-month report on diversion from landfill. So we are now at an average of above 95%. So 95% of all of our waste is recycled, and only 5 or less goes to the landfill. And then here's just an example. All these cards are different types of metal. So we separate all of the metal. If we have copper, aluminum, stainless, we separate it and then send it out to a recycling partner. And then the general trash as well goes to a recycling partner, and they hand separate all of the materials and then recycle it. And then here on this other side is the energy consumption report, and we try every year to decrease 10% of our energy consumption. And here in the bottom is a diagram of how we capture and reuse energy when we are doing our testing procedures out there. And they're gonna show you where we test our units, but we basically have regen units that store energy and reuse it. So we only lose 5% of the energy when we do all of these testing processes, and we are saving 95 basically. So that's really good savings right there when it comes to energy consumption.
So the graph here shows year-over-year reduction in energy consumption. So every month this year we have used significantly less energy than we did this time last year, right? And it's not a weather-related phenomenon. It's a lot of PMs on the air conditioning equipment, a lot of programmable thermostats put in, so we're not heating the facility throughout the night. A lot of activity has gone in, and without exception, every month we're lower, which is great. And you'll see when we get to the end of line testing, a lot of time, effort, and capital spent in the ability for us to minimize the energy that we're using. If you can imagine, we're testing every unit that we make at full power. If we did not have that ability to regen and recapture that power at a 95% rate, it would be an enormous electrical bill, right? So money well spent, but a lot of money spent in the ability to do that. So we'll show you that as well, all right?
We'll start off with the first step. Of course, it all starts with an enclosure. The enclosure is an IP65 certified enclosure, all aluminum. It's very critical. This mounts everything to it. So if it shows up bad, it's a bad day and we have to shut down the plant. So what we do is we have local suppliers that supply that for us so that we can reach out and touch them if they have a problem. So if any one of these little PIMs or screws are off location, it's a bad day for us and we have to shut down the line. We don't like that. So as you move on, the next is the cooling system. You'll see some of the piping that goes around through here. It goes all through the electronics. Cool heat is not your friend in regards to quality. Maintaining that electronics, the more you keep it cool, the better it will retain and stay around. So we have a radiator in the bottom. It circulates. It's got pump systems here. It keeps the whole enclosure cold and cool for anything from all the way up to 115 degrees all the way down into the negatives. So we have products sitting in Alaska as well as it's sitting in the deserts anywhere in the world. So we have product everywhere. So that cooling system is critical. The next one you have is the electrical system. You can look at the electrical bus bars here. Power comes in from the bottom. It has all your safety switches here, but it also goes through this great big old PCBA right here. And this PCBA is circulating the power through the modules. So it brings that power up and it goes out through the top of the unit. And then of course it goes through the cables. After that, we talk about a lot of modular systems. This is an RT75. This is a retail unit. So it can easily, doesn't have to have a major electrical infrastructure. It has its own rectifier system all built into it. All you have to do is a 3-phase come up through the bottom. It goes through its own rectifier and then it goes on through its DC-DC modules. And that way, like the mom and pop grocery stores, if they say, hey, I want to put an electrical system in my parking lot, they can easily hook it up to their current 3-phase system and not have to go building infrastructure. So it's a great system here. The other one is, the next step would be your customer interface. You see a lot of the system here. We make it simple but robust. The reason why we do it simple is because the more complex you get it, the harder it is to maintain it. We want them to last. So, and also if you'll get a chance to look at the system here, it has all of its electronics right on the door. And it's built into the IP65 system. So it's dust protected, water protected, heat protected. And then of course you'll see the connections all going through into the modules. All that coolant is going straight through the modules. So if one of these modules goes out, it's real easy to change it out. 2 bolts, unplug 2 coolant lines, and then coolant lines are non-drip. So the non-drip is very critical because you don't want liquid in your unit. So it's a non-drip, and you pull that out, and you just pulls it and puts one back in, and within 5 to 10 minutes, you have your unit back up and running. One of the critical things and one of the important things is, if one of these units goes out, don't mean your unit's down. So it means your unit keeps running, it just goes into a lower mode. So that's fantastic when it comes to trying to keep your infrastructures up and running. You want to be able to keep all your units up and running, but if one goes out, don't worry, the unit still is functioning. It might function at half or less or whatever, but it's still functioning and you still get a charge. That's important to a customer nowadays. You want your units to be up and running. And then some of the other things here, we have an integrated, Nathan kind of hit it on there. We have an ISO 9000, ISO 14000, ISO 45000. All that is it's quality, safety, and environmental. We are truly a believer in protecting our environment. And that's what infrastructure with electrical is. In EV world, we just want to make sure that we're making the best footprint for our future. And so we do that with our own employees here. We want to make sure that we are meeting our customers' expectations. But on the other side of that, we want to make sure that we are meeting the expectations for our environment and for our employees. And as you'll see, we track a lot of things in this plant, and we're very electronically. So you'll see here FPY, first pass yield. We want to make sure when the product comes down the line, it is perfect. If it's not perfect, it gets a ding against our quality. So we track our quality on how perfect we are. So whenever it hits that end of line testers, and we 100% check every unit before it goes out the door. And when we do that, we're wanting to make sure it's perfect and it gets to that tester. And if it doesn't, then we have to do something about it. And we put corrective actions in place. That's what we have, and our employees understand that they are getting tracked on their quality. So their quality before, we don't care about I do care about what's issued out in the field and all that, but what's on the floor, I want to catch it here in-house before I have to catch it out in the field. Does that make sense? So as you'll see, these units are all got vendor certifications and the vendor certification, but VIN numbers and certifications and serial numbers. These are all tracked. Every quality aspect on every individual unit is tracked. And you'll see that out on the floor. The tracking system is designed to check every torque, every bolt, any kind of componentry that has to go on there that's unique, like if it's a CE unit or a UL unit, we track it. If we track also any BABA units, anything NIVI units, it all is tracked within in the computer system, and it's all controlled by serial number. And if you call me up and say, hey, guy, you got a problem with this unit, all you got to do is give me the serial number, and I can give you all the data and all the pictures. We take 20 to 30 pictures on every unit, including every enclosure that we send out. So we want to know how it got to you. So that's critical to us to be able to say, and then of course you'll see every enclosure has its own serial number. Every box is to track to make sure, heaven forbid, we have a logistics company that drops your product. We don't want that, and we track that, and we take pictures of everything. So, and that all goes straight to that serial number.
We have a large automotive manufacturing base in this area. Most of us came from that environment. So you'll see Yamazumi's, a lot of things used in automotive tier 1, tier 2 suppliers as well. So constant focus on efficiency. For instance, we're going to look at line 1 here. Line 1 has capability to build RTM as well as PKM charge stations. As far as physical components within those 2 charge stations, they're about 50% identical and 50% unique. So when this facility was first set up, we had unique lines for each model. The drawbacks with that are, let's say customers want RTMs this month and no PKMs, right? We've got excess labor that's kind of stifled while we're having to run this line, and maybe even with overtime. So the ability to what we called it flex before flex existed. The flex line allows us to run an RTM and a PKM back to back if we want, which is great. And with the sub-assemblies and a lot of other processes that you see, makes it much more efficient because they can support both products at the same time. So you'll see a lot of automotive mindset within the facility.
Nice to see everybody. Pretty sure you're going to hear this a lot. Thanks for coming in, and we're definitely glad to have you. A little bit about, you're going to have your main, you got sub. So right here is the QRs that Nathan mentioned out earlier. So this is going to get scanned in at station 1, and that's going to populate everything that this unit is calling for, per customer, per power or whatever cable, any other variant that we need. And this is what our sub-assembly components will have is the QRs. So once we get it from our sub that feeds into mainline, sub will scan this. If for any reason this is incorrect or for a different build, it'll flag in Pico, and it will not allow us to proceed until we get the correct variant of what we need actually in there. Over here, this is our station 1. This is where everything starts at. Originally, this was a 2-person station. Of course, you needed a team lift for these enclosures. They're a little light, but they are awkward shape. So now we got this lift assist, which actually allows a 1-person to man the station. And it makes it more safer. We don't have to worry about anybody tripping over it or falling over it. So it does help out a lot. As you go over and look through this, so I forgot to mention, this is my apologies. These little fixtures right here, these are 3D printed fixtures. These are in-house. So these are going to be made specifically for whatever sub-assembly we are working at the table. We moved over here just to show you guys a little bit more. And as we come around this corner, we'll kind of show you more about the 3D printed fixtures. Some of them are black and they will be ESD. So we're trying to get away from always having to have a wristband and be grounded out. So it helps us out a lot. The racking that you will see for each station is also custom in-house racking. And it's going to be more towards whatever the station needs. So as we first started, they were kind of like the common foundation, yeah. But then we started modifying them to meet what our team members made it easier for them. Removing stuff off, heavier items off the higher top shelf, or actually even lowering a top shelf, so it can make it, you don't have to reach over and pose any other safety risks. Let's come around here. Now our bin systems, you'll see we'll have one in the front, one in the back. So once this first bin, it actually, once you use all the materials in this, we'll put over here in the cart. That's going to queue warehouse to go ahead and refill it. So we'll have a continuous flow of material. So we don't have to stop back, and they'll come in and bring it as you see the material here, and then we'll restock the lines. We also have our sub-assembly bench testing. You'll see a little bit more up here about it, but the bench testing allows us to actually test the sub-assembly before we put it into the unit. So we don't have to worry about a failed sub-assembly all the way out in EOL testing. We can catch it here and get it replaced. This is Michael. He's going to show you a little bit about that sub-bench testing that I was just mentioning.
All right, just to first highlight, I want to show off a small little Kaizen stuff that we did here. This one is one of the larger ones that we did, where we did actually work in with a lot of different groups. We had an issue with trying to get production times down, and then working with engineering, production, and quality. We were able to look at a process to where we took something where we were very off of our time, needing to be below our cycle time here. And then by doing a complete reshuffling of the entire process, not only did we reduce the amount of walking time operators had to, but our entire cycle time came down below our target. So this is one of the bigger ones that we've done in the past. This one's probably about a year and a half old, but it has had significant improvements for the team here. Next, I want to show you all here at our top cap inline testing that we have. All right, so for any of our sub-assembly tests or sub-assembly stations where we can, if we can do some type of testing, we will get that done. For any of our top caps here, if you have an RTM, it'll just have down lights that come down off of it. Or if you have the top caps with indicator lights, which is an option for the RTM or comes standard on the PKM, you do have the 4 lights that are here that will indicate if a cable is available for use, it is in charge, or if there's some type of an error. So since we build all that here and we do the termination of the connector as well, we want to be able to make sure that that is good before it leaves this station and gets put onto a unit. So what we have done is we have developed our own test that goes in with our process, that once this goes, it is completely off hands on the operator. Everything is tested on its own. So it'll go through a different set of cycling for each of the different lights. And what we have done is we have put in sensors at each of the different lights to make sure that not only are we getting a light, but we're getting the correct light when the correct signal is being pushed off to it. This test was built entirely in-house. These sensors were sourced ourselves. All of the jigs were designed and 3D printed in-house. Even the entire hardware that goes along with it was all built in, and we also programmed that with our engineers here as well. As this goes through, our MES system is logging every bit of this test and is logging that against the serial number that goes in for the top cap. And then when that is scanned in at the line, those results go with the unit. So if there's ever an issue with our top caps when it is out into the field, we can go back and look through all of our test data to show that this unit did pass this before it got out into the field.
Now, all those tools that you've seen at each individual station, they're all right here. So it makes the whole line easier to have to do anything. You have variants of anything that we've ever ran into, anything in the field that we might have to replace. We have the process here. So once we do replace something, if we have to replace output negative or anything in here, once we throw it through here, it's now tied to the unit again. So it's nothing that we have to write down manually and can lose track of. It's actually all recorded in Pico. So if anything that happens, the rework process, we can pull that back up just to see what was going on with it.
One other item to touch on. So if you look at these, they look very similar, right? As we stated earlier, we build UL, we build CE. We have different versions of different parts that look very similar. So another aspect of Pico is error control. So whatever that build sequence, when they scan the QR code, it loaded the sequence or the recipe for what needs to be built. They have to scan and ensure they have the right one. If they have the wrong one in the hand, it won't allow. It'll error out. So because we have a lot of light components that you have to have a microscope to see the difference. Another big key in building it right every time.
Welcome to Tritium, Lebanon. This is our EOL department. So first and foremost, just like anything else you guys have already seen come through, we're going to walk through exactly what you guys have as far as what you ordered for your unit, okay? At this point, we're going to go into our charger build configuration screen, in which we're going to select everything you've chosen, cable type, as far as how many DCs or modules you're going to run, what type of payter system or credit card system you're going to run, and then we're going to write these configurations for you, okay? Once we have these written, we're going to end up running the installation process of what the unit is going to need through the software package that we uploaded, as well as what you guys need as far as your side of the world, as far as your payter, modem, addresses, things like that, okay? As soon as we get done doing that, we're going to run over to the overview system testing. System testing. And we're going to run through 6 individual low power tests, okay? These are all done with 24 volt DC power. Basically what we're going to do is your CCU test, which is basically the brain of the unit. It is your continuous charge situation. So they're going to run through that test. That is basically to make sure that everything is communicating across the unit, that your boards are communicating correctly, that your modules are communicating correctly before it lets it go through. Then we'll go into the IOC test, which is your customer interface, your interface operating system, okay? This is basically the front point of what your customers are going to see, so we want to make sure that is good. After that, we're going to go through the safety management unit system. So make sure the safety is 100% done and is correct, that your customer, that anybody that comes in is a safe unit, okay? That you're getting a safe unit. The next test is our temperature control. That basically means our fans are running, that our pumps are running, that everything is going to be in that unit to keep that unit cool and operational, okay? The second to last test is going to be our power control unit. This is basically where the unit's getting power from your grid. All right, we want to make sure that input power is getting this contacts or closing correctly, that everything is safe and good to go there. And then we're going to go into the most important part for the end user is our simultaneously control charging unit, okay? This is where we're going to have your customers where they're going to hook up, that the cable configurations are correct, that they're running correctly, that everything is good to go for that unit, okay? All these checks are going to be done, and they have to come through, and they have to pass what it would be in our build history, which will be solved, that we are greenlit through everything that you see here, okay? If we have one problem, and I will go through it a little bit more, but behind you we'll have a rework area. We'll have to pull this out into our diagnostic, and I'll walk that through you here within a second. But as long as we are greenlit, then we're going to run over into our high power charge system, which we have one. This is a PKM 150 charging rate now. Basically, we'll do a 2 30-minute burns and 2 10-minute burns per cable. Basically, it's going to run off at, it can run up to as far as 950 volts, 146 kilowatts. And it basically, each cable is going to run, like I said, for about 40 minutes, okay? One of the great things about what we do here is about 95% of our power that we're using in this cell is recycled. Okay, it's coming back into our units, and it's reusable. Okay, that we're only pulling up so much from the grid. All right. Again, once we get to that point, then we can pass it on to to the back of our area, to our final inspection stations, and then they can go through it there. Once EOL is done, it is going to come to this next step in line here, and this is another quality checkpoint. Okay, this is our post check. So basically, the two ladies that you see behind you right now, they're going to run through everything that's within the file that we just got done doing, all the testing and all the configurations, and make sure that it is 100% A1 on spec. Okay. They will not let it go until it gets to that point. So that is basically their thing. They're going to take photos of what you have internal, matching serial numbers, and make sure everything is, when you're coming through our build history, that everything correlates with that build. So it's 100% traceable back to that unit if you guys ever had a problem down the road. So we can figure out very quickly what unit was, and that way we can actually trace of any problems that may grow larger in the field. So that is here. Once they are complete and they are 100% okay with the unit, we're going to go into what we call either our vinyl and our final assembly area. So this is where you're going to have your customer specific or a Tritium base or no vinyl at all, depending on what you guys have chosen. Each one, you guys walked by the print room earlier, so it's printed in-house. It comes back here, and we have a very, very good team that's very good at this, because I have tried this 100 times and I can't get it right. All right, I am horrible at this. Some people just have a lot more patience than I do, I guess. But so you're going to get vinyled here. This is where your final assembly will come through. Radiator covers, your gland plates, all your excursion plates to cover up the unit, to ultimately put the protection to the end user to make sure that they can't get to anything that could cause bodily harm or injury. Okay. Again, once we are done with this, we will go through to the back side where Miss Courtney is standing, and it'll go through another QC point. Okay. This is where we're going to take final pictures of your unit, cables, holsters, all those things that you guys have ordered. We're going to take the overall picture of the unit, make sure we're in good condition. It's going to give it a nice wipe down and be cleaned. And then once she is satisfied and passes it through her station, we'll follow out to the packing area where the two gentlemen are actually packing a unit now, ultimately wrapping in foam and getting ready to crate it up to you guys and deliver it on your address. Okay. Along with the packing inside the box, if you guys aren't familiar, there will be your installation kit. We've had where they don't know where everything is, but in that box, it's everything that's going to be needed to hook into your grid. Okay. So that's also part of that. All right. I'm going to hand you back over to Nathan now. Nathan will continue on, but hope you guys all have a great day.
This facility runs in a circle. We pull raw material. Our enclosures come straight off a semi that sits right here from the factory. Once that semi is empty, they bring another one, right? We don't keep a big stockpile of them, but everything will come in through the warehouse, the front of the line, back out. So we try to be as efficient as possible with material handling, with the conveyance of all the material. Again, helps with our efficiency and our head count and cost, right? So we discussed earlier, the same building blocks for Triflex are used that we already currently have in place for our team of PKM. So Freddie, you'll see Freddie over here working. He's one of our maintenance guys. We just reconfigured these cells to make them larger, to be able to handle more of those building blocks that we have, for the increased power of Triflex, to be able to test them at the full extent too. You'll see a few that are already fully populated over here. And then more cages down on the other end. So again, very proud of everything that we're done in-house, between Michael and his engineering team, Sean and all his production team members as well. It's been amazing to see what these guys are capable of, and it's very good. So the Triflex DVT units will be built over the next month or so. We'll start those. So if you come back in a month, it will look completely different to you, and every line will look very similar to line one with those units coming. So very proud of this facility, and like I said, even more proud of what's coming. So I think it's very exciting right now. The team, again, have been here 90+% since this building came into existence. So built a very strong foundation here, and very proud of them. So we won't go that way, but you'll see the warehouse just over in the corner of the warehouse. There's our IQC department. That's where Guy lives. So that's where we do all of our incoming testing. We have ATE equipment to test all of our PCBs, 95+%, functionality wise. All that is done there. And then we do a percentage check, of course, of all parts coming in, whether it be mechanical, measurements, all that is done there as well. And then, of course, any investigation of any potential supplier issue can be done there as well. We have all that equipment, okay?
Now, in this next segment, we actually talked to several different people, part of the executive staff, who support both during the sales, post-sales, and the ongoing maintenance of the chargers, as well as Arcady's final thoughts and my final thoughts with him as we were approaching the end of the day. I was very well surprised at how much of a transformation Tritium has gone through. It's very clear that Arcady's leadership has had a profound effect on the overall culture of the organization, making it much more customer focused. And reliability is a reoccurring theme through these interviews, as you will see. Hope you enjoy. I'm here with Parker Moore, Senior Customer Success Manager. Yes, sir?
That's right.
And you're in the sales team, correct?
Yes, it's customer operations, right? So I pick up in the process just post-sale. So as soon as someone buys a charger, they're introduced to me and my team, and we're handling everything from new customer onboarding, making sure they're set up with my Tritium, which we'll talk about, and handling things in the field too. So if they've got issues with their charger, I'm handling some larger accounts where we manage some of their service needs, cases, and part shipping as well.
Very well. And let's say I'm a customer and I purchase a Tritium charger, or I guess today I could win one and come home with one in the back of my car. My wife would probably not appreciate that being a new coffee table. But does it come with I'm assuming, some form of warranty, and I guess that's dependent on what product and service level I purchase. Is that correct?
Right. We do offer SLAs, but of course all of our products are going to have a 3-year standard warranty. It's going to be covering parts and remote services. And that's going to be true for our RTM, our PKM, and our Triflex eventually. And we also are now offering a lifetime warranty. You've probably heard the news. Our newest lifetime warranty, a 10-year lifetime warranty on power modules for any new product purchased today.
So, because Tritium is not a CPO and you manufacture hardware, I'm assuming what a customer does is OCPP back to a payment provider in order to get payment processing?
Correct. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we install payer devices on our units. We don't handle anything payment related. Customers can choose their own back-end provider. We don't really have too much involvement in that. They're able to select their own.
Okay, so let's just say I buy a dozen Tritium chargers and they go into a parking lot where I'm operating a business, a strip mall, or whatever else. Maybe I'm behind the fence and I have a fleet that I'm charging. Right. And I want to see the telemetry from the chargers that are on my property. Now, that's not OCPP, no?
It is. So certainly, customers can decide to point that OCPP to another back-end provider, like EV Connect or wherever else they're going to use. But certainly they have access to my Tritium, which is going to show a lot of that data, telemetry, for their charging session, reports. There's a lot of things in my Tritium we can dive into.
And there's a way of distributing load among the chargers, like a way of programmatically interfacing with the chargers as well through my Tritium?
Yes, and that's not something today you can do through my Tritium. Of course, you have to create a case for that in my Tritium, and our team can help with some of that, that management there.
Understood.
My Tritium is something that is a asset management tool, but it can be so much more too. We're also hosting all of our field documents, our field service procedures, operating manuals, software update, release notes are all available to our customers in my Tritium. So we've really designed this thing to be extremely self-service. I'm one of just 2 customer success managers in North America, and I'm very responsive via email. We really want people to be able to access my Tritium and get the things they need in a much quicker, easy-to-use platform.
How long has my Tritium been a product?
My Tritium has been a product since the iteration of Tritium. It's developed over time. It's something that we include for all of our
Because I see a URL, which means it's hosted off-site now, and I'm guessing in an early iteration it was like an on-premise server at one point?
That's a great question. I'm not sure about that.
Okay, so, but at least now we know that it's hosted, so there's nothing needed on-premise for like a server.
No, that's a great question. Yeah, so and we get this question a lot too. This full package, some companies will sell you different levels of access to their software. This is a full full slate. So you get everything when you buy a charger. Anytime you have a customer or a partner. So if you've got service providers who are working on your chargers, they're not owners of our hardware, they can also gain access to my Tritium so they can access your chargers.
Can you adjust pricing?
No.
Okay.
All of that will be handled through Pater or the backend provider. No pricing.
Understood. And my Tritium does not do anything with payment gateways or anything along that line.
None of that.
It's just the hardware of the operation of the charger and the charging station itself.
Of the charging unit itself. Primarily, our customers will use this for service cases. So a lot of folks are getting their charger data pointing somewhere else. Like this example here, the primary endpoint is being pointed to PowerFlex. So this customer is getting a lot of their charging data, their telemetry, from PowerFlex.
Okay.
Right? But they can come into my Tritium, get a lot of the same data, of course, but then really they're using this to be a great resource for opening new cases, buying spare parts from us.
Okay.
It's a great way to interact with Tritium directly, where PowerFlex, in this example, is a great the platform selected by the customer to handle a lot of their charger management.
Yeah, it's like management application versus interfacing with the hardware manufacturer.
Absolutely.
And very nice add-on because lots of people think that people who make hardware, all they're trying to do is get a product onto a property and then
what?
Yeah,
right. And that's a great point. That's kind of where our team comes in. Like we got the charger, it's installed, but now what, right? And so we do a lot of great. We're very transparent. I'm going to show you a couple things here. As Arcady mentioned earlier, we are wildly transparent. We really try to put all the documents available to customers that they could possibly need into the Documents tab. So there's great filters here. Often in my role, I'm asked a lot by service providers, hey, how do I install XYZ? How do I replace a cable? How do I put a new HMI screen on this charger? Our field service procedures all live right here. And even if you don't really know what you're looking for, right? It has something to do with the HMI. I can just really search that at the top here. And it's going to give me every document that has anything to do with an HMI, kind of give me some filters here to pick from.
Yeah, so I work in computer technology, and very similar for those types of vendors where when you purchase their products, the online portal, support portal, is integrated with the products that you purchased, and then the corresponding knowledge-based documents and installation manuals that come with those. And you would think that as a industry like EV charging that is relatively new doesn't have something as developed as this, because this really looks like it's a pretty comprehensive suite of resources for a customer that's newly onboarded. So helping alleviate some of that post-purchase
anxiety. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that happens, right? People buy any product, right, and have that kind of next day cold feet, and this gives them a great resource landing page to come in and realize that, okay, wow, you guys have everything prepared for us that we can either teach our own techs. We have that happen a lot too. You go through our own certification classes through our Tritium Academy. But then also review like operating manuals, installation procedures, field service procedures. It's available for all products, both current and past.
Sure.
Tritium 1.0 products.
And after you make a purchase, instead of having a buyer's remorse that they dissipated or disappeared, you have a partner that is now engaged with you long term, and really slick interface. And no charge for this, I'm assuming?
No, everything in my Tritium is completely available and free for anyone who is, again, they bought Tritium hardware or it's their partner, right? So a technician company who doesn't own our hardware, we can give them access to my Tritium as well. A key recent feature that we've added to my Tritium is our Tritium shop. And one of the best things about the Tritium shop, after I select an account here, is our live stock counter. So a lot of times in my role, I'm asked, hey, is this particular part in stock? And if so, how quickly can I get it? And we have seen just an incredible turnaround in the speed, and all credit to our spare parts team, of getting parts out the door and into the hands of our customers. When I first started Tritium in January of this year, we're averaging like 2 to 3 weeks to get some parts from our factory to
Yeah,
theirs.
I've heard much longer than
Much
that.
longer in some cases, depending on the part.
Not necessarily tritium, just an industry problem.
Industry wide,
Copper,
right?
and it has to be.
Today we're shipping things out within about 3 to 5 days. And so we're really, really good at getting things off our floor here and into the customer's hands. So what we're looking at here is our critical spare parts list. And it's showing here if that part is in stock, what that costs, and then also what products those are applicable for too. So just very similar to any old shopping website, you can click on this part, add it to your cart. How many of those do you need? And then as you work through from left to right here, you can build your cart out, create a quote, and then actually process that order. You upload that PO to our team. Our team processes that pretty much immediately when we receive a PO in our system.
Well, very good, Parker. Much appreciated for showing us the Tritium, and very slick and comprehensive add-on. So we're not just buying copper and steel, we're actually buying some intelligent software on top of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great tool to work with Tritium, to understand like how we really operate, give you all the resources you need to make sure your fleet is running up to speed and operating as it should be.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Walter.
I'm here with Caleb, a technical training manager?
Officer.
Officer, all right.
Technical training officer.
For Tritium, and you're based here in the Lebanon, Tennessee plant?
Correct.
Okay, so just to touch the third wire, a lot of people in the EV community think Tritium has had reliability problems, and there's new products coming out, obviously, with the Triflex, and a bit of an image thing, and there was financial situation in which you all went through, and you're in the process of being recreated here, and there's a lot of, I guess, fence mending that needs to be done. And what I've been hearing today is that there's a lot of more proactive monitoring that's going into the chargers. There's a more robust field service engagement method, and there's telemetry from the chargers coming back to this facility or up into the cloud and then being monitored by people here in this facility. Can you talk a little bit about some of the changes that have been happening here at Tritium?
Absolutely. So part of the fundamental change that Tritium 2.0 has been focusing on is, one, as you can kind of tell from like this event that we're doing, is transparency. And so we're also wanting to engage on a level with our customers more so than we ever did in the past. So what you're seeing on the TV here is kind of an example of our level 2, level 3 diagnostics tools that we utilize for our service team. And we're actually currently in development of a customer-facing version of this to get into the hands of our customers, into our service partners, to actually be able to perform some low-level diagnostics on their chargers and actually see the health of their chargers for more than just charge status, more so than even what you're getting currently in my Tritium. And so right here you can kind of see there's a CAN log from a charger. The one's right outside the building, actually, and it's playing for us live. Well, not live. We took this from a charge this morning, but we're able to bring the log right here into the system, and we're able to watch the unit in this single line diagram of exactly how the power is flowing and how it's communicating.
So this is live for the chargers out there?
It's not live. So it is a log that's stored in the charger. So every charge session, fail, disengage, you name it, is logged within the charger's history.
Understood.
And so this is one of the most recent ones. So one of the guys came in this morning, they charged their EV, this is that log.
I got you.
And so we're able to play that log and watch. And so
diagnostic. Okay, now it's starting to make sense. More diagnostic.
So it's a simple tool. For example, if one of these DC modules failed, it will at any point in the log where it fails is the fail point. It'll go red, and you'll be able to see that the voltage, the amperage go, and it stays red. And then you go, okay, DC module 1 is what needs to be replaced. So we're wanting it to be a simple tool for our customers and service partners.
A customer can replace a DC module? I'm assuming not. Or
it depends. So there's different case scenarios. Like some customers will have parts that they purchase and store in a warehouse.
Okay.
And if it's a unit that's within warranty, they can replace that module, and then we ship them a replacement module into their
kind of like a toner cartridge in a printer.
Pretty much. Very similar. I mean, in all honesty.
Yeah, all right.
And so, so with that, it kind of helps monitor all of the the life of it. But also, I'll pull up another facet of it.
And while you do that, have you been noticing progress towards increased reliability and the whole concept of Tritium 2.0, where now we're looking at charging stations and chargers being up more frequently?
Correct. So you can, I'll kind of pull up here. So our customers will also have access to this, which is Tritium Reliability Analytics. That is pulled from all chargers globally. It just takes a minute to load because it's pulling.
Yeah, I would imagine it's crunching a lot of numbers right here.
Now, it won't look exactly like this. They're working on different UI and things like that. But you'll see here is it shows it's looking at every single product that Tritium currently has in the field. And also with like what you were saying for reliability, is there has been an increase, especially in terms of how we're approaching the repairs, how we're approaching uptimes and things like that. And so
first you need the information, and then you need a process. Exactly. It's like a twofold thing.
Exactly. And so now that we have a plethora of information, we're starting to really hit those key elements on, for example, why we want to give customers access on some of these diagnostics tools is because there are certain reliability issues on some of these key factors, whether it be power modules, contactors, things like that. And so what we're striving to do is give the customers the tools to diagnose those and get them fixed quickly as possible, while also keeping those uptimes on those chargers up while we're continuing to develop newer products. Because ultimately, these products are now starting to get to an aging point, a lot of these chargers, especially with like the RTMs launching in 22, PCAMs in 23. You're starting to see, different issues that you might not have seen at launch. And then it also depends on cycles and things like that of each location being slightly different, use case scenarios. And so
the amount of load that's going on,
collect all that data, and then we're looking at ways to improve. Whether it be this hub is constantly being used for rental vehicles and it's running 24/7. You're starting to see a totally different use case and wear than you would say a charger that's at a gas station that might get maybe 2 charges a week, and so we're able to collect that data and then work on improvements, but also improvements on our service side on how we respond and react to those situations.
Right. So one of the things that ChargePoint is often criticized for is having a lot of stranded assets out there, because basically they sell products, and then if the customer wants support, they can have it, but they don't have to have the support, and then it leads to kind of a brand erosion sort of thing. But I feel as though with Tritium 2.0, there is a concerted effort in order to improve the brand's appearance to the community by having the reliability significantly and noticeably improved. And so a different approach to selling and having a life cycle for chargers with relationship with customers, relationships with the field service technicians, and ensuring that the final end user, which is the EV owner, is able to get reliable charging when they need it. It seems like that is what I've been hearing over and over again throughout today. Does that sound about right?
Correct, absolutely. And so that's where, just specifically speaking on like field service, which is the department that I'm in, our commitment is not only to our customers, but also our service partners. So we no longer have, specifically in the United States, have Tritium field technicians. But what we are doing is building a network of service partners that are national partners that can service all the different areas, as well as being able to provide intuitive trainings to potentially a customer's preferred service partner. We might go, hey, here's the list of our partners, and they go, I want to work with, the guy I know, I trust him. We can do that. And we'll train them to work on our products efficiently and safely. And so we really want to work with our customers on fitting their service needs, while also allowing us to really focus on the true, level 3 diagnostics kind of things that might be deeper rooted issues that we find from different scenarios, but then
sure, you can provide guidance that is not available elsewhere in order to help shorten the amount of time it takes to repair, because you can provide additional insight.
And that's where this new vision of transparency comes into play. Like for my role specifically, is I'm building this network out, but also we're developing content that is going to be for our service partners and for our customers, that will include, manuals on actual preventative maintenance that they can submit and put in to keep their chargers running, how to actually change coolant and different things like that. But so think of every single procedure of product that's in there. We have documentations and soon to be videos of those processes that are tools that then our service partners, but also customers.
Yeah, we saw that over there at my Tritium. That was very impressive.
Exactly, and that's where we want to give them these tools, give them the documentation, give them this sense of ownership of the product, to where they feel that this is my charger and I'm going to help get the life out of it that we can. And so that's where we're shifting from the techs in the field. That's not a Tritium, but we will always provide that remote support. And there's ways of doing that within warranty and without warranty. We don't turn away people. We want to engage our customers and engage the product and make sure it's still running. I mean, that's why we're still working on legacy RT50s and RT175s, is because we still believe in our product and we still want to make sure that the customers that are invested into that are getting the most out of their product. And so it's been a good change. Definitely seeing an uptick in just honestly seeing the turnaround times on down chargers is starting to significantly increase, especially as we start growing out that partner network, and really getting ourselves involved with multiple players within the EV space has really been a huge benefit.
Well, Caleb, very appreciative for you coming on camera.
Absolutely.
And best wishes in the future. Very impressive.
Thank you.
I'm here with Elizabeth Gouza, a customer success manager at Tritium. Very quickly, the process that a customer goes through in order to ensure that the products that they're purchasing are going to be able to be serviced. Is that how your department operates?
Yeah, so customer success in general, I like to think of it as from the time you place an order to 5 years down the road of owning a station, or beyond, we're here to help. So customer success, we start you with helping you through the order, the shipment, all that good stuff, commissioning, getting you set up with our My Tritium portal, and once the station's installed, making sure that everything is working properly, and if not, of course, getting them in touch with the appropriate team. And through the lifetime of the unit, honestly, just making sure that we're servicing to the appropriate level. And
yeah, sure. Any customer is going to likely have a fleet of these things in operation, so for sure they're going to need service at some point. And we're here in Lebanon, Tennessee. You're also based in Lebanon, Tennessee, is that correct?
No, I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay, my apologies. But the reason I ask is that this has got a huge warehouse, and I'm assuming this is where the parts depot for those units are as well. So
yes, we ship spare parts right out of here.
Okay, and which is a good location because it's in the middle of the country. So I mean, obviously they're around the world also, but anything that is deployed in North America coming out of here has probably got a pretty short amount of time before it arrives on site. But one of the things that, as I mentioned to one of your colleagues, that ChargePoint is commonly criticized for is the appearance, whether it's true or not, that they like to sell chargers and then they're just basically disengaged from the customer. And it's up to the customer to actually follow through and work with ChargePoint in order to ensure that their equipment is operational and whatnot. But it sounds like I'm hearing here is a lot more proactive and a more holistic approach to the customer experience post-sales, and that the support is included and available. There's also monitoring going on, but can you talk about the different tiers of support that Tritium offers their customers?
Yeah, absolutely. New stations come with a 3-year warranty, just standard.
Okay.
We can extend that up to 5 years total, so 2 additional after the 3-year warranty. Different levels of support. We've got SLAs, so you can have a response time increase of You open a case, we can respond within 24 hours with a plan to resolve it. So that's one level. Of course, that's the premier level, or I don't have my visual. I don't know how to get it up there. But we also have a level that includes earmarked spare parts. So if you were Joe customer, we are going to take into account your station, which parts may fail, and have a stock of those just for you. So that way, if that part does go on back order or something like that, you would not be impacted.
Kind of like a reservation system almost.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And so the hard environment that these chargers go through, there's a couple of things that affect them, obviously, is environment and heavy utilization, perhaps some vandalism or things like that. Multiple things can happen to charging stations. And when a customer comes in order to invoke their contract, the process they go through is there's a phone number to call and they're actually talking to a person, or do they open a case?
Yeah, so I know you looked a little bit at my Tritium earlier, but that's the portal for the customer. So you can really do a lot with that, including opening a case. So that's what we always recommend as a first step is open a case and we will look at it and triage it. So sometimes it's something as simple as we will upgrade your software, or we'll recommend what have you. Some things are remote fixes, some require parts, some require dispatch, all of that. So opening a case will initiate that support process. We do have a phone number for technicians to call in. So most of our support is done through that ticketing system.
Understood. Yeah, and the vibe I'm getting is that with Tritium 2.0, there's a much higher focus on ensuring reliability of the chargers and that the customers are well taken care of. That really seems to be a recurring theme with the My Tritium station, the diagnostic stations, and over here at the customer service. So if that was the message, it's definitely getting through pretty crystal clear. And it seems as though that everyone here is pretty passionate about the new mission that Tritium has charted for the next generation, because there's these larger charging stations that are coming online. I track DC fast chargers in the United States, and more, the numbers just keep going up and up and up. It's not going away anywhere. So I'm sure you guys are going to be very busy.
Yeah, which is good. And I don't know if anyone's talked about it so far, but we do have the lifetime warranty on our power modules now.
Okay.
So that's a brand new thing. It does apply to new purchase chargers. So the stipulation with that is, of course, performing regular preventative maintenance. So just like with your car, you want to make sure you're changing your oil, all that good stuff.
So the most expensive pieces in there could conceivably be covered for the lifetime of the unit.
Yeah, it's not the most expensive piece in the charger, but it is something that if it fails, we will replace it at no cost. Even if the station as a whole is out of warranty, the warranty of that module lives on, and that is just because we are so confident in that module that we feel comfortable doing that. That it's not something that
you're like, sure,
I think it's going to be,
Very well.
So that's a big thing.
Elizabeth, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
I'm here with Arcady, the CEO and host of this party. And just to kind of process my thoughts, I've seen the factory tour, I've talked to multiple employees here, and the theme of Tritium 2.0, let me just see if my thoughts are accurate. I'll bounce them off you, and you can let me know if I'm on point or not. It feels as though the focus on reliability is paramount, and also a more customer-focused approach to the sales process, where once a customer completes a sale, they're also extended a whole team in order to let them know that they're being supported in the purchase and operation of the hardware that they have decided to install in their property. And the back-end systems supporting them thereafter have been greatly enhanced and thought through in order to help them ensure that that station remains reliable, up and generating revenue for them, and also providing the service to the EV customers. Sound about right?
That's about right. I mean, look at it this way. This is not us selling a widget to a customer and walking away. And unfortunately, a lot of the industry a few years ago was just that.
Yeah.
We're going to sell you a charging equipment. And
How many pallets do you want?
How many pallets do you want? And by the way, please store that in inventory. And we're going to shove those into the market. And that's not the market, what the market is today. And that's not who Tritium is today. So when I came in here to this organization, I decided to change things. And I wanted to build customer success as a function and help customers, not just on that initial sale, but then installation, design and engineering of sites.
They have a partner.
They have a partner, a configuration of their charging equipment. Once you install it, we can help you make sure that the installation went smoothly. And then all throughout the life cycle, all the way out till the end of life of that product and disposition. We're going to help you actually dispose of it at its end of life. And that we hadn't done that before. So I built these customer success teams that now work with that customer all throughout that life cycle. And then when there are problems, because there are problems with every piece of equipment.
Sure. Everything fails all the time is a famous quote.
Everything fails all the time. We're going to have that same person with you that was with you during the installation process help you through that case. And again, it's not somebody behind a call desk or a call center who doesn't understand the nuances, the intricacies of your site and your installation. It's going to be someone who was there when they installed it. And that's the difference, I think, that we've made over the last roughly 1 year that I've been here. And I think the customers here felt that.
Yeah, the the enhancement of the engagement of field service technicians, the back-end diagnostics, and the customer focus has definitely been a reoccurring theme as we've gone through here, as well as the precision of the assembly line and being able to ramp up with this facility in order to provide products globally. And initially, Tritium was part of the nascent form of this industry when things were still being experimented with and whatnot, but we're now into the early mass adopter phase of electric vehicles, not only here in the United States, but other places around the world. And everything I see indicates that there's only a uptrend in sight. So having something now focused more on a partnership approach, because one of the things I'm seeing with the independent C-store operators is that they like someone to just kind of hand over the process of installing a station for them. Now, that's not what you guys do, but what you are is the partner that I don't really know if there's a parallel in the industry that has that type of approach where you're engaged to that level with the customer. That Tritium, I'm hearing from multiple sources here, is the case. And so congratulations. It really has been pretty clear the direction that you have brought to Tritium has been successful in the entire organization. So anyway, it's very, very impressive, sir.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and that's right. There are these independent C-store operators who are looking for full turnkey solutions. And we don't try...
And fleet operators.
And fleet operators. Yeah. And we don't try to pretend to be something we're not.
Right.
We know what we're good at and what we have to be good at. We have to be good at building and manufacturing the hardware, which you've seen today. And we think we've developed a process where that's happening at very high levels of quality. We have to be good at diagnosing faults when they occur because everything breaks. But then ultimately, we have to enable our partners who go out to those independent C-store operators, to go out to the fleet operators and give them all of the tools we have. So there's nothing behind, there's no wall of gardens here, right? Every tool, such as Workbench that we showed you, all of the training documentation, all of the videos, all of the service technician training that happens, we give that to our partners so that they can go in and service those operators.
And the part department. I mean, we've got a huge warehouse filled with parts here ready to be deployed should they be needed, and inevitably they will be. And having you're not doing a process where parts are coming on a boat after being manufactured. You have them pre-positioned here. So anyway, very impressive. Much different than what I was expecting coming in. I kind of had a preconception of what I was going to be seeing when I got here, but it is much different. That there is obviously a change in culture here at Tritium.
Yeah, as soon as I walked in, I said, I don't know if we're going to have the best products. I don't know if we're going to have the fastest chargers, but I know we're going to be the easiest company to work with. And I hope that's what came across today.
It really was, yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I'm glad you said that.
Much appreciated, sir. Yeah. Really enjoyed the day.
Thank you.
So there you have it. Tritium's Evolution Day media event. as they reintroduce themselves to the market and reformed here in North America with new products that look to be very compelling and very likely well received. Hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching.